Regine, thank you so much for joining CEOwise. I appreciate it.
Wonderful.
Now, you are the founder and MD of Reputation Matters, which helps companies with their communication strategies and reputation. Give me your elevator pitch. What is Reputation Matters?
To be Africa's go-to reputation research and management company to build sustainable businesses.
Okay, awesome. And now you've very aptly written a book titled Reputation Matters, which is ingenious self-promotion, by the way. But what I found is that I didn't realize how involved it was, and also how important your vision and mission is. Tell me a bit about your book.
Gladly. I think one of the key things is very often when people hear reputation, they either think it's crisis communication, and sometimes that's actually a bit too late. When the pawpaws hit the fan, you're going to need to do a lot more. So we want companies to be proactive when it comes to looking after their reputation. And a lot of people think it's also social media management, which it is to a certain extent. But there's actually 10 different elements of a business that we need to have a look at that builds up or breaks down a reputation. And the golden thread and where it starts is your vision and your mission. What is it where we're going to as an organization? Because that steers the company. And I love the fact that you asked me what is our elevator pitch, because everybody in the company needs to have the same elevator pitch, from the person that started the company to somebody that's been there for 10 years to somebody that's been there for 10 hours. Needs to have that same use of language, because that is what's going to be communicated internally as well as externally.
Okay. And a lot of people think that reputation management is all about PR, and then they throw advertising and marketing in as well, which is there's so much more than that, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I think let's take a step back. Why is reputation so important? Is if we build reputations, our organization's reputation, we're going to be attracting top talent that want to work with the organization, want to be associated with the brand, who then are able to implement and deliver products and services at a very high standard. That enables us to then sell a product or a service at a specific premium. And that clients then want to invest in again to be associated. So that's going to have an impact on your bottom line. So I think, yes, a lot of people do see reputation and PR as the same thing. Unfortunately, one of the things that I have realized over the years, PR hasn't PR'd itself very well, unfortunately. Okay. And it's seen as very much promotional and sending out a press release if it's needed, and crisis communication, as I mentioned. With reputation management, if we're proactive, if we see what's happening inside the organization, we can actually see what are those gaps, what are the areas building up or breaking down the reputation, so that we can help companies to take their reputations to the next level. So PR, marketing, all very important, but that's kind of phase 2. We first need to have a look at what's happening inside our organization. What is our vision? What is our leadership, our governance structures, our employees? Are they happy? Are they working? Do they have the tools that need to have to do the work that they need to do? Who do we associate ourselves with? How do we communicate internally? And then only can we see what are the key messages that we need to be sending out to other stakeholder groups. Okay.
And you developed what you termed as the Repudometer. What exactly is that?
So that is something we're incredibly proud of. That's our research tool that we use that actually quantifies an organization's reputation. So we look at 10 different elements within the organization, as I mentioned, and we've put a quantification to those specific areas. And we ask 3 or 4 statement-based questions for each one of those areas. And we ask it on a level of 1 to 4. The reason for that, I ask a question and I say rate that on a level of 5, generally people are going to go give us 3, the middle route, and we're not going to learn anything. So it helps us to be able to give a quantification, a percentage to an organized reputation. And what we found, why we want to do that, is we CEOs, the C-suite as they call it these days, they want to see return on investment. They want to see the percentages, want to be able to measure things out there. So instead of saying we need to do a press release or we do need to do a specific communications campaign, if we can put a percentage to it to show the value of what we've actually done, to see what is the strength of the relationship with our stakeholders, is a lot more meaningful when we can actually quantify it than just saying, oh, we need to do a specific campaign.
Okay, that's fair enough, makes sense. Now, when dealing with CSI initiatives, you say that we need to do them with strategic intent. How do we go about that?
Absolutely. the CSI, corporate social investment side of things, plays such an important role with building a reputation, because I think very often companies know and they want to do well and give back to the community, but very often they don't necessarily know how to. So what is important, it needs to link back to your vision, your mission, your values of the organization, so that while you're doing your business, you're automatically creating sustainable communities. So it's not just a once-off handing over of a check. And something that irks me is companies that do donate a 10,000 Rand check, but with the main reason for it to be a marketing exercise.
For publicity, exactly.
And that's totally for the wrong reasons as well.
People see through that, I believe.
Absolutely. And something that you might also find quite interesting is sometimes when you do this research exercise, companies will say to us, oh, we're not going to include the CSI, but people just want to know about our specific product or service. And we encourage them, just let's ask this, because we need to include all the different elements of the organization. And more than 80% of all the research that we've received, people want to know that they're doing business with socially responsible organizations.
Okay.
So even though it might seem like a small little thing at the side, it is so important to build sustainable projects as well.
But if there is media coverage, it should be focused on the actual project and not on the goodwill.
100%. Rather focus, if it's, for example, a school project, on what the principal is doing, what the mother's bringing, tell a story. It's all about storytelling.
It is storytelling.
And that's the important bit.
Okay. If a company is serious about their reputation and they're willing to change their business, they need to adopt a change vision. What exactly is that?
When it comes to a reputation and building your reputation, having a vision of where the company is going is incredibly important, and seeing where we are as a company, what is it that we want to be, how is it that we want to be perceived, and to have that as part of our vision and part of the wording. And something which is very interesting, and I did this with my team a couple of years back, which made me realize, because we don't always practice what we preach, is what are your 8 words? So when it comes to your vision, what are your 8 words as an organization? And if you ask different people around the boardroom table of your team, I actually asked my team to send me a voice note on WhatsApp. What are our 8, in 8 words, describe what it is that we do. And that was a really big eye-opener for me to realize whether we are all on the same page or not. To more or less we were, I did realize we needed to refine it a bit more. So in terms of having a vision in place so that we could all be fluent, because once you're fluent in a language, it's a lot easier to speak to other people about it, and for other people to understand what it is that you do, and ultimately to then see that as a business development opportunity.
When it comes to a company's own social media profiles, you say we need to choose the platform correctly. And we found that many times that companies create these profiles, they update them and they're keen for the first few weeks, months, and then it kind of fades away. That's one of the very reasons why we at Druff, we've started creating social media content for our clients. Now, and the strategy that goes behind it. Now, how important do you think it is to have an actual social media strategy that you actually stick to and you're consistent with?
It is absolutely key. And it's again going back to understanding your target audience, understanding your stakeholders, because I think too often, as you've rightly said, companies too easily start a Facebook page, and now we're getting a lot more queries, what's this Instagram thing? Should we be on Instagram?
Yes.
And the answer is, not if your audience isn't on it. If there isn't a reason if your target audience are not on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, then rather use that energy and do a campaign that's going to speak specifically to them. So it's really important to understand who your target audience are. We spoke about the generations earlier.
Yes.
So once we understand if we profile the stakeholders and we know that they are high users of Facebook, of Twitter, by all means, and having a campaign, a structured initiative around that helps you to manage the images, it helps you to manage the messages very clearly, and it helps you to be a lot more proactive than just having a random post whenever something might be a little bit interesting.
Of course, yeah.
And it keeps the conversation going as well.
Definitely.